Are we recording? Hi everybody, I am Husky Light. Thank you for stopping by. I've got my interview that I promised you with Tonya today. Tonya is a peer-to-peer coordinator for free, and she's going to explain that to you and let you know what this is. Basically, as a few of you have already figured out, because of my experiences and part of the reason I'm on YouTube, because of this Kundalini awakening that I had. Recently I had like a cosmic awakening as well, and sort of came to learn that I'm an ET experiencer too. And obviously when I went through that, that was really difficult for me to sort of get my head around and get used to it. And Tonya was there for me. She helped so much, and I've now got sort of more and more involved with free as well, and hopefully I'll be helping out more. But so hi Tonya.
Hello. Thank you for the introduction.
So if you want to give us a little bit about who you are, an introduction, what free is all about, what it stands for.
Yes, absolutely. Free is a Dr. Edgar Mitchell research foundation in regards to researching and giving support on extraterrestrials and non-human intelligence experiences with people. And I have to say, it is one of the most incredible groups of people I think I've ever met. They put so much effort into assisting experiencers from all over the world. And because it's been such a hush-hush topic, people tend to internalize all their experiences and create a lot of self-fear because they have nobody to talk to and they're not understanding what's happening. So Ray Hernandez had his own experiences and ended up developing Free, which is an organization with scientists, physicists, astrophysicists, neuroscientists, lay researchers, and academics who've all come together to build an incredible study and statistics based on experiencers through surveys. And at the same time that's happening, they're giving a tremendous amount of support to people on a global level. And a very exciting thing about this is that Ray has worked with Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Dr. Rudy Shield, who's an astrophysicist, and also on board is Mary Rodwell, who's an international world speaker on the topic of ET contactees, as well as being an incredible hypnotherapist. All of them are actually putting in work and hours for free out of their own help constantly with experiencers all over the world as well. So definitely a big thank you to them for that. They're just incredible people, and they're really donating their time to do this and to assist as many people as they can. So it's been a really, really great experience with all of that. And Ray's just fantastic. He takes calls just as much as all of us do. So they're all.
I'm actually hoping that I'll get to do an interview with Ray as well soon. If he says yes, that'd be really, really good. But they've collected so much data and statistics, and they're just helping so many people, me being one of them, when I needed that help, you initially. So it's all a part of this awakening that we're going through. It's all a part of this spiritual growth that we are going through. I think all of us, for the most part, who are going through the spiritual journey, especially if they're getting the same sort of symptoms that I do or experiences that I do, then there's a point that you come to where you actually realize that, you probably are in contact or having experiences with, extraterrestrials or ultra dimensional beings, other than my guides and angels or their guides and angels and higher self. It just cosmically goes out into the universe as well. So do you want to do a little bit about understanding who we are?
Yes,
absolutely. As people?
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important things that always gets overstepped, even when people are taking courses to try to better themselves or head into law of attraction or meditation. Once we start doing all these things, or some people are just born with it naturally, we start opening ourselves up to other frequencies. But unless we truly understand that we are multidimensional beings, that we do live in a multidimensional universe, that we are actually spiritual beings having a human experience, and this is why we're open to all these different frequencies and signals, we can't really get a grip on things if we don't have that understanding, because we just come from a place of what is going on. Why am I seeing lights? Why am I seeing UFOs? Why did this being just show up in my place? Or certain people get telepathic messages. So this could all be very frightening if you don't understand that you're living in a multi-dimensional reality. And, you know, same like that analogy of a television set, if you have 300 channels and you picture that your reality is created by your emotions and your thoughts, you realize that you can tune into one channel, but you still have an understanding that that 300 always exists.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you're tuning into that's going to allow what's visible for you to perceive in your reality at that moment. You know, and understanding the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience also explains the fact why kids, pretty much most kids, can tune into ghost spirits, orbs, you know, non-human intelligence, or just, you know, hear voices or see things, which really is not an abnormal thing or anything to be ashamed of once you have a clear understanding of it.
I think children are still at that point where they've not been told, oh no, you can't be seeing these things because they're not real and it's all in your imagination. And once we start telling them that, that's when those experiences start disappearing for them. So I think it's really important at a young age. I mean, if my little girl says that she's seen something, or I don't say, oh, it's not real, or it's not, you know, it's in your imagination. Let them grow up with it. Let them understand that there are other things out there. We just seem to dampen their imagination. Everyone tries to put a lid on it, and they're so open to seeing that sort of thing at that age because their mind hasn't been programmed in the way that ours has through years of programming and dumbing down and being told that these things can't be real.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So the best thing we could do with these new generations is allow them to be open, you know. And it also explains why we can have so many contact modalities, like why there is near-death experiences, or, you know, how people channel, how there's mystic meditations, and people can remote view and bilocate. Like, all these things are really fascinating things. And I believe that we were just kind of misled with a lot of information and dumbed down not to know the full power of who we truly are. And what's happening now is pretty much a mass awakening. Mm-hmm. People in very large numbers are starting to come to their actual abilities and starting to perceive and see things more than they may have in the past. Whether some people are open to it or not, it's happening. And for some other people, they're on a true path of relentless discovery. Like, they're fascinated by it and they don't want to stop learning. And they're just, what else can I do? You know, I realize.
I do that all the time. And the thing is I know the Edgar Mitchell Foundation especially, but all of these things are connected. Near-death experiences, ghosts, the paranormal, ET contact experiences, there is a connection between all of them in one way or the other, because it is we're just getting in touch with different dimensions, angels, guides, higher self. There is a connection between all of it.
Everything, even including paranormal activity. And this is something that Ray actually discovered through an experience that he had with one of his contact experiences. He was shown that absolutely everything is connected. All these different modalities of experiences are actually connected. and what proved that we are living in a multidimensional universe. I won't share too much of that because I want him to be able to explain his information also, which is incredible. But it is, if you look at it in a way that it's actually exciting, and don't be afraid of it, and allow yourself to be open a little more to all this stuff, it's, life gets really, really magical. It really does.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Oh gosh. And, yeah.
Right? Like, you've even had experiences too. So even just through our talks alone and the talks we've had, it really does. So the more we can build a big support network through free or any other companies, or I shouldn't say company, but any other organization that is creating this kind of support, so people can start to be open about their experiences and not feel like they have to hide about them. The more we all open up together about it, the less we have to feel ashamed about it, because there is so many people going through this. So you'd be surprised that you could talk to 5 people and at least 2 of those people will tell you some form of experience that they've had or somebody they know has had. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and how many times have they brushed it off and talked themselves out of it and told themselves that it wasn't real, or it was just a dream, or something. But unfortunately, it is very, very real. I spoke to you the other night, didn't I? Because I just had another experience, and I spoke to Tonya. Like, oh, what's happening? I need to understand this. And the work you do, Tonya, is just amazing. I know that I do something similar, but it's good for me to know that I can come somewhere and get some help when I need it as well. So
your channel is incredible. So you're pretty much doing the same thing. So yeah, the more we can get this out, the better. So thank you so much for having us also.
Oh, thank you. But it's trying to get the word out in one way or the other, and helping as many people as we can at the same time, in whichever way, whether it's, through the Free Foundation, whether it's through my channel, whether it's through people going out and actually doing live talks to others. It's just whichever way we can bring that awareness to others, and hopefully we've got the right people there watching who can relate to what we're saying and some of the experiences. And I'm really lucky with the subscribers that I have that are following, and a lot of them do relate to, and that's why they follow. They're seeing the 11:11, they're having the synchronistic events that I go through and things like that, and the dreams, and it's just getting that awareness out as much as we can. And if we move on to, we were going to talk about pre-life agreements. Right. We agreed to all this, didn't we? This is all our fault. We're responsible for it.
We are, to some degree, yes. It's that part is really interesting also, because a lot of people are like, pre-life agreements, I would never agree to some of these things. But what we're discovering and what I just have an absolute inner knowing about is that we do, before we actually embody ourselves as spiritual beings, the same way once we exit our body, when our life is complete here, we go back to the same place that we started. But what we do is we make pre-life agreements. And this is with anybody that we have a relationship with this in this lifetime with, whether that's, friends, your lovers, your family, your children, our ET and galactic family, absolutely everybody. So for example, if you had a really rough go with somebody in a past life, you may join back together and say, all right, we didn't do so good before, so let's give it a go again and see if we can get it right this time. And for whatever reason, with ETs, sorry, a little bit of a cough. With ETs or our galactic family, it's the same thing. If we know that they're doing something to assist or aid humanity, and they're doing certain programs, which can be various programs, before we come, we're like you know what, if you're doing that to assist and help humanity, I'm in. Or sometimes it's, if I don't wake up to understand all of this greatness that's about to happen, you can come in and wake me up also. And that is also an agreement with the ETs and our galactic family, or also through friends and family that may have that happen as well. So what some people might notice is they have one person in the family who's awake and maybe talking and saying, oh, you know, spirits are real and this is real. And the rest of the family is like, what are you talking about? Like, no, this isn't true. But the initial thing is that they came in maybe at a slightly higher vibration, a higher awareness to, you know, kind of slowly implant the seeds to assist their family to also wake up to what's going on here as well. But there could be numerous reasons on these agreements. And I've even heard they go as far as collective agreements. Yeah. So for example, if, you know, something horrible happens on the planet where 10 people have passed as a result to it, that was actually a collective agreement for a learning experience to those watching, so that hopefully this event never takes place again. But there's various agreements that happen. So it is important to almost take note of where you are in your life. If you are seeing ships, you're seeing lights, don't panic about it, don't worry. Everything is by agreements. So if they're coming in, you'll notice that once you remove the fear from it, you can actually start to create a communication that'll happen through synchronicities, and it'll make life a lot easier just to get a better understanding of what's happening. Because when we're in fear mode, we don't have the clarity to assess what's happening properly. But same goes for your relationships. So if you're in a relationship, you know, a husband and wife or a child who's not getting along, understand that they're a reflection of your emotions at that moment, and that there's a learning process that's actually taking place that's showing you where you're actually at in this position in our structure, so to speak. So it's important that we look at everything more as a learning experience than a tragedy. That's what we want to try to get everybody to a place of, to assist them to have that, so we can better navigate and maneuver through these life experiences that seem really challenging at times.
Yeah, and I think the main message of what I've heard and what I heard when I was waking up, and that these are positive experiences. We might initially, if we're confused or frightened by them, think, oh my God, this is not good. But as I've come to understand it, as I've sort of become less confused and less frightened by some of the experiences that I go through, they're actually positive, and these beings are attempting to help us. They're attempting to help us evolve as well. And I think their main message in everything is love and compassion. Think through the heart center. Maybe because if we don't do that, you know, we're going to evolve into some sort of race that, you know, a few thousand years from now, that doesn't have a heart anymore, that can't feel emotions anymore. Yeah. And I think a lot of them are coming back to sort of say, whatever happens, you've got to stay within that heart center.
Oh, it's so important. Free's data from their initial surveys, and that's only English-speaking surveys, 85% of all experiences were positive experiences. And that's extremely different from what you're seeing circulating around the internet and through mass media. If any, you know, mass media, when they do talk about it, it's generally put into a negative aspect. And I think that's one of the main reasons I joined Free, is just because I've always had this need to want to know how things work. You know, I work as a photographer in my daytime, and just as much as I want to know my camera, I want to know the world that I live in, so that I can easier navigate through it. And Free really did the groundwork to show what's truly taking place, that it's not this, you know, abductions from the 40s and 50s that they scared everybody with. There is really a huge change that's happening right now in our world, and a communication.
There's a change within the, because I know that obviously there are bad extraterrestrials out there. We're not just going to say they're all good.
No.
But there is a change in, like you've just said, from the 40s and 50s, when there was abductions back then. The actual beings that did those abductions back then have actually changed themselves over time as they've understood us more, haven't they? Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, it gets a little complicated because there is government involvement also with a lot of the so-called negative experiences, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to
just... No, that's purely military. That's human intervention, isn't it?
Yeah, where it's almost robotic beings. They weren't actually like real greys. So the first thing that was very fearful, I feel, with the greys way back when, is that because they don't appear to have empathy, it's telepathic communication, so there's no empathy. There was a lot of fear, obviously, if somebody is feeling that they're being taken and you're having a being look at you with no expression. It's very scary when you're not understanding what's happening. So because of that, there was a lot of misdirection. But for people I know that have been in contact with greys for a long time, they've also said that they've understood that this was taking place and didn't understand because it wasn't that they didn't have empathy. It's just that they lacked the way to actually express this.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's much more communication, and there is various races of greys too. So just as we're not going to say that all Zeta or all various species of greys are negative or positive, the same way we wouldn't say that about our Earth race. Yeah. And not for anything, but if anybody from another planet was coming here, they wouldn't think we're too benevolent either, because there's a lot of war and crisis happening on our planet that makes a human race not look so benevolent. Yeah. But we talk to the majority of our race and the ones that are waking up, we realize that we are a beautiful, benevolent race waking up to our true self. And that's where we're going to keep our focus on. We're not going to focus or worry about what happened in the past. We do know that a big movement is happening now. A lot of changes are happening now to bring everybody into a higher level. And the majority of anything negative mainly exists here, actually. Yeah. A lot of our ET friends that exist out, don't really need any names. Sorry, they don't really need names because they're mainly a collective of beings with higher frequency energies. But for the purpose of us being able to wrap our heads around this, you'll hear the Palladians, the Mantid beings, the tall.
We like to stick a label on everything, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll hear all the labels for all of them. But in the bigger scheme of things right now, it's a really huge positive movement happening to raise the vibrational frequency of the planet as well as all the beings on it, so that we can have a nice smooth transition to not experience anything of lower density. And whenever we work on that by ourselves, we automatically do it with everybody because we're connected. Yeah. And that's why there's a massive movement of people switching to organic foods, to meditation, without even talking to each other. People from different countries all over the world are suddenly all having this same need of experience or urge to go into this way. And again, that's just solely because we're all connected. We are all one. So when we do inner work and work on ourselves and fix ourselves, it automatically elevates all of us. Yeah, which is incredible.
There's also the medical healing as well.
Yes, and I'm going to read this because I don't want to get the numbers wrong. So through our, well, first I want to explain, we actually had somebody that I spoke to a little while back who was from an extreme academic background, very intelligent, but kind of atheist, never really believed in anything, who suddenly had beings show up and physically heal him of, life-threatening disease. And he was completely in shock until he realized through that month that his body completely experienced a full healing. And this isn't the first time this has happened. This happens a lot. Generally, when something like this happens, this is also by agreement as well. It doesn't unfortunately happen with everybody, but if somebody is in alignment with what they're supposed to be doing and then suddenly falls off path, or say, for example, that disease wasn't supposed to happen and it wasn't emotionally created, it was literally created maybe by outside chemicals or whatever the case, they are generally assisted so that they can get back on track. So our findings are 51% of phase 2 respondents stated that non-human intelligence has performed a medical healing on them or a member of their family. 16.5% were specifically told that they were medically healed by them. So that's a pretty big number. Like that's
I'm gonna add myself to the percentage, because I've just realized that, do you know that little symbol I showed you the other day? Do you remember what the...
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm going to get it because you just reminded... Excuse me, folks. Yeah, you just reminded me exactly what I said. I figured it out. I actually had an experience the other day, and I was shown a little symbol thing, and we said we couldn't work it out. So I actually... I split it into 3.
Right, yeah.
But look at the top one when I actually figured it out. It was distance healing.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I've only just realised with you actually talking about it now. So
that's incredible.
They took me off to heal me for something.
And you know what? Through this time and through like just paying attention to anything else that happens, you'll definitely connect those dots to see if that was a healing and what exactly happens and where.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've just connected the dots. That there's the synchronicity there actually with you speaking about it. Has just made me realise, that actual, it means light or distance healing, that little symbol, and the other is hidden. So it's hidden distance healing.
Oh, so that would totally make sense then.
That totally makes sense as to...
And symbols are actually extremely powerful. They're a lot of communication through telepathic message is through symbol and emotion versus vocal speaking.
That's pretty cool, because I think that's the first symbol that obviously I get the numbers and everything. I can figure out the numbers and I can figure out that's probably the first symbol that I've really figured out. So
it'll be really interesting to see now too if you start to see this symbol more periodically in your synchronicities. So if it starts showing more, because the thing I always wished is, all our experiences and everybody I talk to, including myself, everything tends to be, something really dramatic or something happens and then nothing happens for like 2 months and you're like, okay, what was that? Like, can I have a little more in here to finish this off? But it always almost happens in a slow way so that you have time to actually integrate everything before the next step comes. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah, that's what happened with me last time when I had to get the help from you when I went through. A few of my subscribers know I had sort of a spiritual pregnancy last year. I was part of this hybridization program, which is where I met you originally to get some help with it. But you go through this immense flux of synchronicities, seeing the numbers, seeing symbols, having really vivid dreams, all of this, seeing UFOs, and then there's nothing for like you said, for like a couple of months, and you're like, have I just lost connection? Why can't I hear my higher self anymore? And there's this really quiet, but it's it's you integrating and understanding the experience that you've just had and getting used to that before they hit you with the next one. Basically, they're giving you a chance to get through it.
And sometimes you feel like, no, I'm ready. It's okay. Just
do it now. It's fine.
You know? Just tell me when you're coming. Just tell me when you're coming and show up, but unfortunately it doesn't really.
I said that it'd be so nice if they stuck a note through the door first, or just left you a message and said, we're coming down a week on Tuesday. Be ready. But there's nothing like that. But it's to integrate and understand, because a lot of what you've been downloaded with, it's got to go through your DNA. It's got to go through your subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a definite process to it. Also, if we're, some people who are ready and do want the communication, if you are ready, but your vibrational signal isn't high enough to match theirs, you won't have contact for a while. So things will just kind of start to fade out. But, there is ways and things we can do to bring ourselves up. And that's actually something I wanted to talk about also. We've had a lot of people that have also experienced missing time. That's always something that's kind of crazy. I find it personally exciting, although
it is a big thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, some people are like, I don't know where I went, Or you have that case of, I'm sure everybody's, been on the road driving, and all of a sudden you're like, how did I get here already?
Mm-hmm.
Is that missing time? We don't really know for sure, but to me, it seems like it's a good possibility of it. But again, I'm just going to read from here to show the amount of people. So we've had 1,345 who've had missing time, and also had time progress much more rapidly than expected. As well as time being lost. 830 have had extra time arriving much sooner than expected. So it's interesting that it could go both ways. So I was speaking to somebody actually about this, and what is the occurrence? Like, why does missing time actually happen? And again, what they were mentioning is because ETs of higher vibrations, because we're keeping this on a positive note, when ETs of higher vibrations, we interact with them. We usually don't remember because their vibrational signal is just way higher than ours. So it's almost like you're being extracted from the hologram, which is another conversation that we can get into also. Mm-hmm. But basically you're being extracted to be able to participate on their vibrational signal, to create communication, to maybe be reminded of your life mission and soul purpose, and to have more information. And they also assist to raise your vibration so that you could receive downloads, or whatever you want to call it, when you're getting information sent to you, whether it's telepathic or through feeling or through a nudge, you just have this need to immediately go do something or study something. So that's generally where that comes from. So you could notice you're sitting somewhere, and then all of a sudden you could blank out, and all of a sudden realize, oh my God, what just happened? Like, it's an hour past and I don't recall, like I just looked at the time. For example, something like that can happen.
Yeah.
But generally the people coming back, anybody who's more aware and in tune could realize that missing time, and whereas other people won't even know it happened. Like, they'll actually go and come back and not even notice a thing.
I think as well, something that I sort of come to the realization of, I mean, these extra dimensional beings are extremely clever. Yes. And I don't think, if they're going to take us out of this hologram, take us off, do whatever they do, and then bring us back, I think they're too clever to not put us back on exactly the same point in time or on exactly the same road that we were driving on. I actually think sometimes they do it deliberately so that we notice there's a time slip, or we notice that something is different. Because if they put us back in exactly the same time or on exactly the same, we wouldn't have a clue that anything had happened. to us
Yeah.
at all. I think they deliberately do this because they're far too clever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that we do remember and do realize that something's slightly off, something's not quite right here. And for us to realize that, oh, hang on a minute, maybe that's happened. Because I just think they're too clever not to, they wouldn't be daft enough to put us, you know, oh, we forgot which road we took you from, so we'll just put you down on a different one. I think they're doing it deliberately so that we actually do have an inkling of a remembrance, like a trigger.
I totally agree. I think that's a big part of it. And because, like you said, it does trigger you to want to discover what just happened, right? Like how did that happen? Because I think our initial reaction, not for me, if it's something like that happens to me, I go into full discovery mode and I will research for days.
Yes, Mia. Everything's into Google. What's going on? How did this happen? Why?
Everything. I want to know everything about it. But some people do not want to know a thing about it, and they get very freaked out, and they're like, no. And they'll literally shut themselves down to not have anything like this happen again. But if it's meant for you to happen, and you did make a commitment, it will happen again. So always just know that it is of a positive nature, because if it was anything negative, maybe you just wouldn't come back. Like if they keep bringing you back and not affecting your life flow on this planet, besides the fact of kind of trying to snap you out of something and signal you to wake up, then you know it's fine. And let's face it also, I mean, interstellar technologies probably way surpass anything that we've ever been told about that we have on Earth. So if there ever was a threat to us or a problem, it could have happened years ago and multiple times. Right? So it's nothing about that at all.
No.
It's really just a movement of ET communication or non-human intelligence, whatever way we're going to, refer to everybody as. It's their way of communicating directly with us so that we can all assist one another to lift our vibrations, start discovering who we are, and to wake up. And I find too, I just want to go back to the positive experience data summaries, because 84% of the people did not want their contact experiences to stop. That's a big number. 60% have stated that non-human intelligent beings have tried to help them. 71% felt expanded consciousness in the presence of them, and also felt 66% have felt a love like nothing ever experienced in this lifetime on this planet. Almost like a brotherhood, sisterhood feeling of
felt that.
Right? That they could never even describe anywhere else. And the majority of people, whether some people might see ships, beings, lights, other people don't necessarily see anything, but just have an inner knowing that there is way more to this place than we could ever imagine. And I'm noticing that even though it doesn't matter if it's those people or the people who are having the actual sightings, all of them seem to say that after any type of feeling or thought or contact, whatever it is, it always follows with a need to study or research sciences, a bigger understanding of the world and our planetary universe and our system, a sudden need to be more kind and loving, that to be more compassionate and to send love to other people. So it's always followed by something positive or a need to study a certain topic, and an obsession, almost like a relentlessness to figure this out or want to know everything about this topic. And generally what happens is that information usually follows by preparing that person with all the knowledge they're going to need to assist other people following behind them that are waking up, same exactly like what you're doing, right? So you have this beautiful knowledge that you continuously are given, and you're assisting your whole community by giving that information out. And we're finding that everybody else that's following in that path, even if they're fighting it and they're like, well, what do I do with this? I don't know what to do with this information. Eventually, whether it's a year or 2 years, end up going through job changes, drastic lifestyle changes where they feel like, everything's falling apart. And I also went through this feeling. But then they come to realize that it's only because it's taking away all their old previous stagnant energies to make space for this new vibration that they're becoming. And also to guide anybody else that's following behind them. And it's so exciting to see this happening with people all over the world. Like
the changes that they go through are amazing. I mean, and when they go through apart from the research and the wanting to learn quantum physics and the sciences and the research, excuse me, that everybody, because I went through all that as well, and I still do. I still can't get enough of quantum physics or sciences or different modalities like that, and wanting to learn how to make hobbit houses and live off grid and things like that is crazy. But there's all the health benefits as well, because you seem to come back from these experiences, and I know it when it happens with me, and mine seem to coincide with solar or lunar eclipses for some reason. But you'll come back and suddenly it's like you want to turn vegetarian, you want to start taking vitamins, you want to stop smoking, you don't want to drink anymore. If somebody's been taking drugs, suddenly they're off the drugs again, they're eating healthily. All of this unconditional love that you feel as well. And all of these, they're just all these health benefits. So how can they be not positive?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're going through those changes, and I've done that also, it's what you're doing is raising your vibration.
Yes.
You're dumping all the toxic load out of your physical body, and all of a sudden you're putting all this nutrients in, which is literally lightening your vibration.
Yeah. It's raising you higher.
Yeah. And it's literally turning you into a physical antenna. So I noticed my very first experiences were after actually I had a health concern, and I went into a 1 month juice flush along with herbal cleanses, like for all my organs. During this time process, I had clarity like never before. And all of a sudden I started feeling guided, and I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. And this was just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about any of this stuff. I knew there was always something more, but I didn't really have an interest in figuring it all out. I was always curious about how stuff works, but I was more into, I'm excited to go here or figure out what I'm doing with my life, but my focus didn't really branch out into a spiritual arena or ETs, even though I knew they existed, but I just didn't have any desire past that.
I think for some people that takes a while. I mean, that took a while with me. It was only sort of last year that I went, oh my God, I'm talking to other things apart from guides and angels. What on earth is going on? It takes a while with some, because sometimes, like when you want to block that out, it's just like too much for your head to handle.
Right.
You really can't cope with things like that. But I was just, did you have your awakening in 2012 then?
I did, yeah, I did. It was right
it's
I think a lot of people did. A lot of people.
So I think when everyone turns around and looks back at the 21st of December 2012 and says, well, nothing happened, I think something did. I think there was a lot of changes coming around then. They might have been subtle and they didn't happen to everybody, and the world certainly didn't end. But I think that was the start of a lot of this awakening.
Oh, absolutely. And that is one thing I always did feel, that the 2012 thing was in no way an end of the world, but it was an end in an old belief system and a new shift in consciousness. And you really did see that shift of consciousness happen. And from what I've been told, during 2012, there was a big surge of energies that came in, and this is why everybody got lifted up. And I'm sure it won't be the last one.
I think there's more to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's more to come. I think I keep hearing about this big solar energy wave that's going to come in, whether that's true or not, or if I think I think there is definitely so many waves of energy, especially when there are eclipses going on and blood moons, and that seems to be connected to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a lot happening. That's why it's really important, I think, for people who are aware out there right now, don't be so afraid to share your information. I know what Free's doing right now is they're asking all of us volunteers that are coordinators to assist people to get through their experiences and support them. We're all making videos of all of our experience, and we're going to post them on Free's YouTube channel. They're calling it the Gift Project, just to help people to know you're not alone. There's like, I can't even explain. I mean, we have so much data from people who fill out the surveys, but that's not even close to the amount of the people who are actually calling in. Like, everybody who's calling isn't necessarily filling out a survey. No. And not only through Free, but through so many avenues. I'm just talking to people everywhere that are going through all these things. So the more people see that there's so many people going through all these things, and I can tell you, from kids to 70-year-olds, there is so many similar experiences from all over the world. And when you hear the same stories about the same type of beings with the same loving messages,
over and
that
over.
becomes fact, right? That's a truth now of something that is actually very real and very much taking place. So if anybody would like to participate in that, they can actually contact Free and say that, yes, they would like to make a short 5 to 10 minute video, even if it's a 3-minute video, it doesn't matter, about their experiences. And if you're willing to post it, that just allows more and more of us to be open and spread this message. There's no need to be quiet or feel ashamed or that you can't talk to anybody. So if you need us as your initial resource first to help you to just kind of get out of this box, but then, keep that moving. Like, we help you, you help somebody else, and we just keep that chain going to build an incredible support network.
Yeah. Well, I'll put all the links down below, obviously, for Free, and that I'm going to do a video myself for you as well and get that up. But anybody else, I want my subscribers and anyone who is going through these experiences to put in the comments below to talk to each other in the comments. If you want to do the video, get in touch with Free. I'll post it on my site as well. If you want me to, as long as we can get as much of the word out as we can do, and we can start getting people connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the main thing. There's some other things we were going to have a quick chat about as well while we're on, and that's the telepathic. I don't know if we've gone through that, but the telepathic messages.
Yeah, let me go to that also. So we have, right now, there's a lot of amazing things happening. We're noticing that a lot of ETs not human intelligence, are explaining to a lot of the people we talk to that we're all being upgraded right now.
Yes.
So generally, anybody who's in tune and ready to be on this line of reality, so to speak, would be people who would be definitely listening to our interview. But anybody who is ready for this is going to start getting upgraded to a higher frequency so that they can start receiving telepathic messages. And from there, it just makes life a lot easier also, because the communication between them and cutting out that void of not understanding what's happening kind of gets alleviated.
So it's related to the 12 strands of DNA that they're reconnecting.
Yeah, it definitely is part of that also. And we have a part to play in this too, though. If whoever does want communication a little more, we can raise our antenna, our vibrational signal, so that these kind of things could happen faster. And the way we would do that is through juicing, through cleansing, eating higher vibrational foods, understanding that when you eat cooked food, there's nothing wrong with it. It's delicious and great, but you are cooking the enzymes that are used to actually digest that food in your system. So you want to just have a little bit of balance. You don't have to go fully raw or anything like that, but you do want to have a little balance so that your body is getting that higher dose nutrition. Clearing emotions is a huge thing, because we need to understand that when everybody says you're a hologram or you live in a holographic universe, it's basically because you are creating your reality from your thoughts and your emotions. That is what creates your projections and the reality that you exist in. So the more we clean up all old stagnant emotions, the easier it is for us to be on a smooth transition, a life with more ease, less complication. We always hit speed bumps, but it's really our state of being that matters.
Yeah.
And notice that when we do hit those speed bumps, your state of being will be much different than it was before, when you're clogged up with emotions that are trapped in your physical being, which actually create disease also. Yeah. So we want to get rid of all that stuff. We also want to be in the moment. And a good way to explain this is, if you're with a child and you're playing with a child, you're engaging your full attention in that child. That's being in the moment. Not playing with them, but being on your phone or thinking what you have to do at the office tomorrow. For that 2 minutes, you're engaged in conversation, and that's being in the moment. And it doesn't matter if it's a kid or your loved one, try staring them right in the eyes for even like half a second, engage in the moment. It's super important.
Yeah, this is why I say to subscribers, get creative, sing, draw, dance, do something that is just totally keeping you in the moment and stopping you thinking about what's just happened, the argument that you've just had yesterday or last week, or just getting away from that, letting go of all that, and getting back into motion. But creativity, drawing, color, those things that you do where you just forget time.
Yeah. I think it's so important to those things. Just the more we're in the moment, that's what, like when people say you need to learn how to let go so that you can move forward, that's how you're actually doing that. So by meditation, by living in the moment.
Yeah.
Are you there?
I'm here and I can still hear you. It's okay.
Okay.
It did a little freeze, but I can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. So by being in the moment and, meditating, that's what's allowing you to let go so that you could actually move forward and not stay in stuck negative energies, which are the illusion. So when you're feeling like you're trapped and you can't move forward, that's actually the illusion. And that's why we have the power to change that by, releasing old emotions and lifting our vibrational signal. And just before I go to the telepathic thing, I just want to say one more thing about juicing also. I know there's always a debate between juicing and smoothies. If you're in good health, both of them are fantastic. The only difference is when you're juicing, you're not activating the digestive tract. So the juice goes straight into the bloodstream, and it's basically as powerful as a natural blood transfusion. So that's basically the difference. Smoothies do keep the fiber in, which is great also. So if you're in a situation where you have a serious disease, juicing is much more powerful and faster to activate your physical body and get you back to a healthy state. But both of them are really good for you. So it is a better way to get a higher amount of raw nutrition into your physical being. So
the difference, because I have smoothies, but what's the actual difference between a smoothie and a juicing? Is it just the lack of, because I'll put coconut milk into a smoothie. So is juicing just like pure juice without the bit that makes the smoothie?
You know what? I lost you for a second there.
Right.
Can you repeat?
The difference between a smoothie and juicing.
Okay.
Is it simply you're not putting the coconut milk in, or you're not putting the whatever you'd put in a smoothie?
Oh, right. Okay. So yeah, juicing, you're actually using a juicing machine to juice greens, fruits or vegetables. Whereas a smoothie, you're making in a blender.
Right.
Right? So juicing extracts the fiber. And that's usually the debate that everybody has. Like, you shouldn't juice because it's taking out all the fiber. But they really have two different purposes. So because the fiber is taken out, it doesn't activate the digestive tract, which brings the juice straight into your bloodstream. So that's why it's such a powerful food program for detoxification. Smoothies leaves the fiber in, which is super healthy for you also. So, you could do, if you're healthy and you don't really have any health conditions, both are fantastic. You can just do both at all times. If you need a real boost to your physical being, juicing makes it happen faster. That's all, right?
Because it goes straight into the bloodstream.
Yeah, straight into the bloodstream. But both always great. And the main purpose is just to get a higher amount of raw enzymes into your physical being. That's all it is. So both of them are very, very good and extremely healthy for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But sorry, I went way off.
No, that's fine. That was important.
Telepathic messages is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so our studies show that 1,636 have received telepathic messages or thought transfers from non-human intelligent beings. Of these, 1,010 have been downloads of advanced science, physics, and technologies. So that's a pretty big number of what's happening with telepathic messages. And again, if you haven't received one and you do want to get to that point, it's all about raising your vibrational signal and asking for communication too.
Yeah.
I know a big thing that I do, and I find it works really well, is whenever I do something or I finish a project, I always ask, what is my next step? And every time I ask that, within 10 days, I usually see something that shows where I should put my point of focus and what direction I should follow. So I think that'd be a great thing for everybody to try also. Always ask, what's my next step?
Yeah, I try and encourage my subscribers to do that, to just ask, and also just to ask for help when they need it as well. To ask to help transmute their fears and doubts about whatever's going on in their lives, whether it be money problems or emotional problems, whatever it is, to try and help them to let go of things like that. And again, the answers will come through for them, usually within a few days. Maybe they have to look for them. They'll come through in symbols or signs, but they do come through, or they'll be led to in the right direction as well.
I think that's so important you do that with everybody too, because I know when I was first figuring stuff out, I didn't really talk to anybody. Yeah. And I was kind of solo trying to figure it out. And I wasn't really buying a lot of the stuff that was on the net. And that's actually another reason why, even with free, I felt like I was completely guided. I was doing a meditation, I got up and all of a sudden I had this complete nudge to go on the computer. And I really don't remember what I typed in. Next thing you know, I'm volunteering for free. And I was on a phone call with Mary Rodwell and Ray Hernandez. And I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. What's happening here?
Well, I did exactly the same, didn't I? I had my experience last year with the breeding program and the spirit, and I didn't understand what was going on. And suddenly the Edgar Mitchell Foundation just sort of popped up on my computer with the survey. And I was like, okay, well, I'll fill this survey out, whatever this is. And as I started going through it, I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. This is the awakening. This is a Kundalini experience. This is why are you asking me questions like this? And it suddenly began to dawn on me that, cosmically awake at that point. So
right. And
they lead you where you need to go.
Absolutely. And if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be talking right now. So it's really fascinating, actually. Once you get on this, you start meeting people, and me and Danielle were saying the other night that we didn't even have to leave our houses to meet each other, and we're across the world. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and she's in the UK. It's how incredible is this?
It is. It's absolutely amazing, and synchronistically, and people are drawn to you that need to be drawn to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
People that are on the same vibration as you, people that are going through the same things. When you need a message from your guides, from your guides, that person will be placed in front of you. You will get that message. People are brought together for a reason. So, and obviously me meeting you and everything has now led on to this. And hopefully we're doing our job. We're helping to hopefully further awaken and give out as much information as possible to other people. And this is just how it goes along the way. So I've got a low battery on my iPad actually with all my questions on, so I might have to switch over to you soon. While we're on the breeding program, do you want to go through, obviously I experienced that last year, and do you want to explain a little bit and go through that as well?
Absolutely. I'll read, I'm going to give our statistics and then I'll go detail.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost you.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so out of our studies for the breeding program, 530 individuals believe that they were involved in the alien breeding program. And the types of beings vary from short grays, human-looking beings, tall grays, hybrids, others, various reptilians. 31% were completely aware and knew the purpose of the alien breeding program. 399 believe they have already been a hybrid child, and 194 were presented with a hybrid child by these non-human intelligent beings, okay?
Yeah.
So the breeding program, I know this is kind of a touchier subject and it kind of freaks out a lot of people, but you shouldn't be at all, because the only way that you're part of a program like this is because an agreement was made. That would be the only way. And
again.
Yes, right? Sorry, throat. Okay, I'm good again. Okay, so basically, with the grays, what I have been told is that the grays are actually a future self, so to speak. And they basically mutated themselves so much to a point that they couldn't procreate anymore. So initially, the breeding programs were used to assist and extend the race. This is a very, very, very long time ago. We've come a long way. Now what's happening is our focus is all on our planet, on the planet Earth, our Earth Mother, because the Earth is going through vibrational shifts. The people also need to lift and go through a vibrational shift as well. And what's happening is the breeding program was happening to create a race of hybrids that would be the first to assist and come to our planet. They wouldn't just integrate with us immediately. They would have to go to higher vibrational spots like Sedona or any sacred spots on the earth where there's a higher energy vortex. And they would be juicing and doing these things of high vibrational diets to be able to coexist with us. Then eventually they would integrate with us, which would automatically assist us to raise our frequency higher. And they would be the closest thing of, our galactic family that would be able to actually sustain our Earth planet and stay with us for extremely long periods of time, versus just dropping in and leaving and not being able to sustain a long life here. So if I look at myself as a person and I had a race of beings come to me, be like, we're all here to help the planet and we're going to do all these things. Would you volunteer to be part of this? I know personally, I'd be like, I'm in. So would I remember this? Probably not. No. And then all of a sudden you may have a quick memory of something, or somebody shows up presenting a child to you. If you've ever had a dream of a child, somebody, a gray or another species of alien or even humanoid, presenting a child, or you just have this innate feeling that you're pregnant, but you go to the doctor and you're not, but you know you are.
Yeah.
You're generally part of that program, right? I don't know if it's still continued. What I heard is that it did kind of finish up about a year ago, but you know, we don't really know. There's so many races, so many agreements. Nobody knows anything 100%. We all just get little pieces of the puzzle, right? And all of us work together to integrate and try to figure this out as we go. But the main part of this is not to be afraid. You did make an agreement to be part of this. You know, if you were presented a child and you had a shocked reaction at first, you can literally send a telepathic message telling them, I'm so sorry, that was my first reaction. I did not understand. I have a better understanding now. I would like to further our communication and do a little research. I know there's a young girl in Sedona. Her name's Bridget Nielsen. Very big, right, on the breeding program, and she deals with people specifically about breeding program. So you can always research some of her stuff. I feel that she's very knowledgeable about it, and she comes from a place of a positive background, even though she'll say things that actually freaked her out in the beginning too. Still gives a positive assessment of it, so she'd be a good place to start.
Yeah, I think I've watched quite a bit of her. I watched quite a lot of her stuff last year when I was going through it. So she was quite a big help because of what she was explaining and that. And I met my little hybrid baby. I asked if I could see it. I asked if it was safe, and you know, I wanted to see it. And that night in my dreams, they did introduce me to it. I fed the little thing. And it wasn't weird, and it wasn't grey, and it wasn't, you know, it was a pretty human looking baby. It's just that the eyes were really, really big.
Yeah, they got big.
And that, but I was really happy.
See, well, that's beautiful, because then you can create a stronger connection to that also. And I notice a lot of people with their telephones.
It stopped me going through the worry of thinking, where the hell is my baby? What have you done with it? Why did this happen? All of those questions, because obviously I went through the actual physical symptoms of being pregnant as well. And obviously when it didn't happen, there's all those feelings afterwards of missing that child as well. So by me meeting that child, I don't miss it anymore now. I just know that it's safe, and I did my bit apparently for
that's really important to actually talk about, because you know too that the person or the being who's presenting your child to you is doing it in a very excited way. Like they're saying, like, look, this is, you know, what you created and stuff. So by you being open about this too is so amazing, because you're opening a channel for huge amounts of people. Because
it's the first time I've really spoken to it, you know, openly about it. And bless him, my twin flame hasn't got his head around it. He just thought I had a meltdown. So at the time, which is fine for him. He's not the spiritual one. So, but if it helps somebody else out who may have gone through it as well, then I'm gonna, you know, be the one to say it. And you know, I look a bit daft at everyone, that's fine, but that was my experience, and I'm owning it. So
I think it's really, really important, because I think the majority of people watching, there's probably a lot of them who've had this experience also, and that's why maybe they're drawn to the talk. But the number, apparently 1/3 of the population was part of this.
Wow.
That's a very, very huge number. So there's a lot of people that have experienced things without any explanation of why. And this is even more hard for women to talk about. Even men are part of this program too, but women are more attached, obviously, because it's growing within us. So our attachment and a feeling of loss is much more dramatic than a male's would be. And also for a woman, we go through emotions during a pregnancy too. Even in the first few weeks, your hormones are all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard to explain this to somebody when you have no physical proof or any way of explaining this. They would just look at you, what are you talking about? So if we, again, create a network to show each other that, yes, there was an agreement in place, your child is being well taken care of, it's nothing to worry about. We don't have to be afraid of this situation. Just know that they're in a great place, and this is all part of a much bigger picture. Even the kids that you do have physically on this planet are not really yours to a certain degree. We're more guardians to them,
Yeah.
We basically belong to the universe, so to speak. Like, they're coming in on agreement. They actually chose you as a parent, for whatever agreements you guys made. There was a big choice decision made there, which is so beautiful. And you're going to learn life lessons together. But the job as a parent is more to be their guardian, to guide them through this life, to not suppress their abilities, but, really let them shine. And no, it's not always just your imagination. But on the other hand, your imagination is what creates your reality. So nothing wrong with letting that loose either. So that's super important. But in regards to the breeding program, we're still always learning about this. The more people we talk to, the better we can address it too. And, if somebody is going through a traumatic feeling or state about this, you're definitely well equipped to speak with them about this.
Yeah.
And, anybody who's had that experience, obviously, is much better to talk to because you can rationalize it better.
Yeah, it was difficult to get through, but once you come to the understanding of it, it's finding those answers. It's knowing who to go to get those answers from, even from not from that pregnancy point of view or anything, just from a contact point of view. Even if this is a guy that is suddenly seeing UFOs or suddenly getting telepathic messages or suddenly seeing 1111, it can be so confusing for some people. And just for them to know that there are, institutes out there, companies out there that, groups of people that can help. And like we said, from free, these people are, psychiatrists, scientists, doctors. They're not silly people. They're not, they have such a fantastic interest in it. And most of them have had experience as well, haven't they? I know Mary Rodwell is an experiencer herself.
Yeah. She's fantastic. She actually has a new book out too right now. She does a lot of talking about the new human, the new children, because the kids that are coming into the world right now are coming in already with the higher awareness and the higher frequency. So they're going to be playing a big part of all of this. But she explains this best, so I'll leave that up to her, to, if anybody's interested in learning about that, definitely I would look into getting her new book, or even just watching all of her videos. She explains everything really, really great and has a lot of.
She's got some amazing stories. I've watched a lot of her stuff on YouTube, and a lot of the when she was talking about the children, that was because they're just being born and they're already awake. They don't even have to they don't have to clear anything or go through anything like we've gone through. They're just already awake. They're already aware completely. Their chakras are all fully open. Their DNA is already connected, and they're amazing. And that's the next generation of children. It's going to go like that until every child that is born is already in the awakened state. I think that's just the way we're evolving now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every generation coming in from this point is just going to be a higher signal. We've basically paved the way, you know. We're starting to break down all the old paradigms and the old belief systems, and just kind of moving into a whole new place, which is going to be really interesting to see it all unfold. That's for sure.
Will be. So, is there anything you want to finish off with, or we're going to come back and do this again and do another interview, aren't we? So I want everybody asking questions and that, because we're going to get back on and do this again. Hopefully, if we get enough questions to answer, that would be good. And about other subjects within this sort of realm as well, because we haven't even scratched the surface, have we?
No, yeah, we know like a tiny little bit compared to what's actually going on out there. And some people may think this is shocking. There's much more to know about and learn about.
Just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely, just getting started. But yes, definitely anybody who has questions, I would definitely say leave them posted below, because the more questions we get, the more we can challenge this information and get more and answer questions and build another interview to discuss all those questions about. And we were actually talking too about information in regards to changing timelines and understanding parallel realities.
Yes.
So that'll be definitely a very interesting topic of conversation for future interviews.
Yeah, that's a completely whole other interview. I think we could probably just do at least an hour on just timelines and parallels and different dimensions, and going through all of that as well, which is incredible. So yeah. I think if we close it up here, I think that's probably good, and let everybody get their head around it. And I've probably gone a bit deeper tonight with this interview than we usually do on my channel, but that's good, because I want people to come back with intelligent questions and curiosity about this, and hopefully some people watching will go, oh, I really resonate with that, and hopefully we've given them some answers, hopefully. So Tonya, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me.
Sure.
And I will see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, do you want to close up?
No, just thank you for allowing us to share, and it was a pleasure, and we're excited to be able to talk to everybody again. Thanks for having us.
Okay, bye.